Hi, you guys. I want to talk about labor rates and labor productivity. And specifically, we're going to take a look at O3000 concrete. We're going to use this as our template here to get started on filling in the boxes on your spreadsheet. So, like we discussed last week, we have a labor rate of $19. And I want to change that rate to something else. I want to change that rate to $57 an hour. And you can find that on your spreadsheet. So I've got my 57 in, and I want to really, since we're paying $57 an hour for concrete, this rate is going to have to go into all of these different line items. So regardless, down here on masonry, let me see if the masonry is a little bit different. The masonry is going to be $81 an hour. So they've got the rebar in here for masonry and concrete. So I've got a little bit of a tricky scenario there. So we want to go ahead and change this all to $81 under the masonry heading over here. So you can see masonry right there. So I'm going to scroll down and let's make sure that we've got everything. Yep, so masonry's good. And we'll get back into concrete here. So 57. And I'm going to drag this, grip onto the little box and drag this down. And so that all of those boxes reflect the $57. And then foundations, footings and foundation concrete, the same thing, 57. And I want to grip on this and drag it down so that we change all of those boxes. 57, grip and drag, and we've got those changed out. So I've got my rates correct right now. So if you look up on the top here, my labor is under these columns over here. So I've got labor hours per unit, I've got labor hours, and I've got cost per labor hour. So my cost for concrete work is $57 per labor hour. But let's take a look at the labor hour units. Labor hour unit for number 4 by 20 foot rebar. I should be able to go to page 411 in your text, and here it is. About the 5th item down, rebar 20 foot continuous horizontal to number 6. So that means from number 3 all the way to number 6 in diameter, we're at 20 cents to 30 cents per hour, one per hour each. So I'm going to use 30 cents, and that's going to go right here. My labor hour unit is 0.3. And remember, we talked about using the high end of all of these rates. So now look and see what happened here. I've got my labor hour unit is 0.3. My units are 52. So if I take 52 and multiply it by 30, you can see this box over here, labor hours, is equal to B6 times F6. So here's my B6 and here's my F6. If I multiply those two, I get this. And then my labor hours times my cost per labor hour is 57. So I've got a total cost here on this line item of $889. That's just for the number 4 rebar. So let's do some more here. Number 5, 3 foot 6 inch rebar. So that is going to be a dowel to a number 6, and that's 0.07. So I've got 7 cents as my labor hour unit. And so since I've only got 32 of those, it's going to cost about $128 to install them. And let's keep going. We're having fun now. So what is the next one? number 6 at 5-foot rebar. So again, this is going to be considered a dowel. I think, hang on a second here. This is actually vertical. Rebar dowel number 6 and vertical to 12-foot high number 6. So I think that this one is a dowel and this is vertical. So we've got to use the 20 cent on this guy. And then I've got, actually, hang on a second. I'm going to change this one up here to 20 cents because down below they're telling us these are actually dowels. So number 5, 9-inch by 27 dowels. We'll use 7 cents on that one. And it's going to be 07. And I think we can drag this one down to the next box there. Okay, so that is in my footings. My footings, these are not vertical. Hang on a second here. Forms, rebar, continuous, horizontal. Okay, so these are going to be 30. So you got to be careful. You know, like I'm going back and forth here. You've got to really make sure that what you're looking at is what you've got in the book here. So look on page 411, the fourth one down, rebar 20-foot continuous horizontal. So since we're talking about footings, that's horizontal rebar. But once we get down here into the masonry, it's going to go to vertical. So my number 4 to 20-foot rebar this is horizontal. So horizontal, that's going to be for the bond beams, right? So I've got 0.3. And then we've got, I think that these are all vertical. So 0.2 here. Remember, in the walls we have pieces of rebar that they're not very long, but they're just pieces so that they can feed the block down over those. Here's square ties. So number 3, 8x8 square ties. We should be able to find. Here's rebar ring tie is 13 cents. So this is going to be 0.13. And let's see here. A 6'6" rebar. I think that these are vertical, so we have to go to 20 cents on those. And we're going to take this all the way down. And that should be good. Now we're looking for anchor bolts and washers. So do I have anchor bolts in here? Anchor bolts, yes. 10 cents each. So 0.1. And then washers and nuts. They probably don't have. I'm just going to add the 10 cents for each of these. And that will cover us for sure. I don't know. How about, they don't have it listed here. I'm going to put a penny on each of those. And that way we're not overdoing it. Because they may have the washers and the nuts included with the anchor bolts at 10 cents per labor unit on that. So take a look at this. Our rebar alone is $16,000, $640. And that's just for, you know, your footings and your masonry. And so our concrete, I think that's where we're going to end this right now, because we're about 10 minutes into the video. But your spreadsheets are already filled out. They're already programmed. So my cost here on this first item, number 4, 20-foot rebar, is $889. So if I come up here, that cell equals G6 times H6. So G6, so 1560 times 57 is going to give us $889. Now, if we had equipment that we were using on this, that we rented or something like that, which we're not there yet. I'll cover that in a later video. But our equipment would go in over here. So if I had something and I'm not sure what it is, I'm just going to add something there. So you can see that my cost of whatever this equipment was $12. So I'm going to delete that, go back to where we were, and we'll address that at a later time. So hey, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, or I will catch up with you on Wednesday night at our next Zoom meeting. So I hope this helps. This, again, the key to this is make sure that you have your hourly rates correct, and then make sure that you go back into the productivity rates in Appendix C, starting on page 411, and you will find that they already have this stuff outlined for every single line item in your entire estimate. So this is what you should be working on now. And so there you go. And I look forward to talking with you guys on Wednesday night, and we'll call that good.